Did you know that Passover celebrates the liberation of the Israelites from slavery in ancient Egypt, and it's packed with rich stories and traditions that many people don't know about? In this video, you'll embark on an epic journey through the story of Passover, uncovering its significance and the traditions that have stood the test of time. Welcome to the Bible Storyteller. Today we journey into one of the most powerful stories of struggle and freedom ever told, the biblical Passover. Many people overlook the deeper meaning behind Passover, focusing only on the rituals without understanding the story of struggle, freedom, and faith that it represents. It's a story that transcends time, a tale of plagues and miracles, of a nation in bondage and of a faithful God who hears the cry of his people. It's more than a tradition, it's a call to remember, to believe, and to hope again. Grab your seat, open your heart. This is Passover like you've never experienced it before. Centuries after Joseph brought his family to Egypt, the Israelites had multiplied, and Pharaoh grew fearful, so he enslaved them, forcing them into harsh labor. He was intimidated by the growing number of slaves in his land. For 400 years, they cried out under the weight of oppression. Generation after generation, they suffered and cried out to God. Brick by brick, they built the empire of Egypt. They worked under harsh conditions and suffered a great deal. They prayed for help, and their cries reached the heavens, and God heard them. God listens to his people when they cry out to him. It may seem like he is not listening, but he is. It may tarry, but his answer will come. Far from the suffering in Egypt, a Hebrew man whose mother boldly protected him from being killed as a baby, when Pharaoh was killing babies, afraid of the growing people of Israel in the land. His mother made a basket and put the baby inside, put in the Nile River, and the baby's sister watched to see what would happen to her brother. The Nile, a river of life and death, carried the infant to an unexpected destiny. The daughter of Pharaoh saw the baby, she took him, called him Moses. He was raised in Pharaoh's palace. He grew up with the privileges of royalty, yet his heart was troubled by the plight of his people. When he was older, he saw an Egyptian mistreating a Hebrew. He intervened and killed the Egyptian. When this matter was known, he fled to the wilderness, leaving behind the grandeur of the palace for the desolation of the desert. He stayed in the house of Jethro and eventually married one of his daughters. Moses, once a prince, now lived the humble life of a shepherd. One day, as Moses tended sheep near Mount Horeb, a mountain known for its solitude and silence, he saw a bush engulfed in flames, yet not consumed. That was a wonder. He went to take a closer look. The sight was unlike anything he had ever seen, a divine spectacle that drew him in. God spoke. "I have seen the misery of my people. Their cries have reached me, and I am concerned about their suffering. I'm sending you to Pharaoh to bring my people out of Egypt." This mission was daunting, a task that seemed impossible for a man who had fled from that very place. Moses resisted. "Who am I? How can I face Pharaoh?" God said, "I will be with you." This assurance was meant to bolster his wavering spirit, yet doubts lingered. Moses said, "Who are you? What is your name?" God answered, "I am who I am." This profound declaration echoed in the wilderness, a name that signified eternal presence and power. Moses said, "I am slow of speech and of tongue." God said, "Who has made the man's mouth?" Moses, "Lord, please send someone else." Then God said, "I will send Aaron your brother. He will speak the words you tell him." God chooses as he wills. What has God said you should do? Share in the comments section. The story of Moses reminds us that even in our doubts and fears, we are chosen for a purpose greater than ourselves. Moses returned to Egypt, confronting Pharaoh with a bold declaration, "Let my people go." It was not an easy thing to say before the evil Pharaoh. Pharaoh scoffed. And so began the 10 plagues, each one a direct challenge to Egypt's gods. Each plague grew worse. The first few plagues affected everyone, but then God began to separate Israel, and only the Egyptians suffered. They were intense. Life became difficult. But Pharaoh's heart remained hard. The people asked Pharaoh to let the people go. They saw that there was God behind these people. They lost their flocks, crops, suffered discomfort. All the while Pharaoh kept agreeing and then changing his mind. until the final plague, the death of the firstborn. God gave specific instructions. Take a lamb without blemish. Kill it. Place its blood on your doorposts. Whoever did not put the blood on the doorpost and lintels was exposed to what was coming. Roast the meat. To eat it with bitter herbs and unleavened bread. When I see the blood, I will pass over you. No destructive plague will touch you. God protects his people. They must just obey. And that night, death swept through Egypt. Cries filled the air. But in the homes marked with blood, there was peace. That was it. Pharaoh's was touched in a deep place. His heir was gone. The heirs of the people of the land were gone, even of the flocks. Pharaoh, defeated, let the people of God go. Pharaoh had enough. Go, he shouted. Over 600,000 men plus women and children marched out of Egypt. Slaves no more. A free people led by God himself in a pillar of cloud by day and fire by night. Freedom had come. God heard their cries and responded. They were free people. But the journey was just beginning. Pharaoh changed his mind and pursued them with chariots. He was relentless. His heart was evil. He could not comprehend letting his slaves go or being defeated by an unseen god of slaves. The sight of his chariots, the pride of Egypt, thundering across the desert was a terrifying spectacle. Dust clouds rose as the wheels turned, and the sound of hooves was like a drumbeat of doom. Pharaoh's determination was fueled by a mix of pride, anger, and a desire to reclaim what he believed was rightfully his. God led the people by the way of the sea. Trapped between the sea and Pharaoh's army, fear gripped the people. They could not cross the sea without any help. Pharaoh was in pursuit. God troubled their horses and chariots, yet they still persisted. The people cried out in despair, questioning why they had been brought to such a perilous place. The sea before them seemed an insurmountable barrier, and the advancing army behind them a certain death. Their faith wavered, and their hearts were heavy with dread. But Moses stretched out his staff, and the sea parted. The water was a heap on the one side and the other. The Israelites crossed safely on dry ground. It was a sight to behold, a miracle that defied the laws of nature. The path through the sea was wide enough for all to pass, and the ground beneath their feet was firm and dry. The people moved forward with a mix of awe and urgency, knowing that their window of escape was divinely provided. The Egyptians followed, but the waters crashed back down. The whole army perished in the sea. Victory, deliverance. This story would be known by the enemies of the people of God far and wide, and they would tremble on hearing Israel approaching. The sight of the waters returning to their place, swallowing the might of Egypt, was a testament to the power of God. The Israelites stood on the far shore watching the sea return to its normal state, and they knew they had witnessed a divine intervention. A God who makes a way where there is none. He makes the waters a dry ground. He delivers his people with his mighty hand. What a mighty God he is. This event would be etched in the memory of the Israelites forever, a cornerstone of their faith and a reminder of God's unwavering commitment to his people. The crossing of the Red Sea was not just an escape from danger, but a profound demonstration of divine power and protection. It was a moment that would inspire generations to come, a story of hope, faith, and the incredible might of their God. Every year, Jewish families gather to remember that night. God instructed them to tell this story to their children, how God delivered them from the hand of Pharaoh with signs and wonders. The Seder plate is central to this tradition, filled with foods that each hold deep meaning and significance. It's not just a meal, it's a journey through history, a retelling of the Exodus story. The Passover meal, the Seder, is rich with symbolism. Each item on the Seder plate is a tangible connection to the past, a way to engage all the senses in the storytelling. Let's look at the elements of the Seder plate. Each element is carefully chosen to represent different aspects of the Israelites' experience in Egypt and their journey to freedom. Mara, or bitter herbs, symbolizes the bitterness of slavery. Over 400 years of slavery would make a person's heart bitter. The taste is sharp and unpleasant, a reminder of the harshness of bondage. Charose is a sweet mixture representing the mortar used by the slaves. Its sweetness contrasts with the bitterness of the maror, symbolizing the hope and resilience of the Jewish people even in the face of hardship. Karpas, a green vegetable, signifies spring and hope. Our hope is in God. Dipped in salt water, it also reminds us of the tears shed during slavery. Salt water stands for the tears of the oppressed. It's a poignant symbol of the suffering endured by the Israelites and by many others throughout history. Zeroah, or the shank bone, represents the lamb's sacrifice. This recalls the lamb that was sacrificed the night before the Exodus, whose blood marked the doors of the Israelites, sparing them from the final plague. Baitza, an egg, symbolizes new life and morning. It's a reminder of the temple sacrifices and the cycle of life and death. And finally, matzah, the unleavened bread, represents what the Israelites took as they fled in haste. It's a symbol of both freedom and the urgency of their departure. Each bite tells a story, each item a reminder. Remember the Lord your God who took you out of slavery with signs and wonders and his mighty hand over your enemies. The Seder plate is more than just food. It's a living narrative, a way to pass down the legacy of faith and perseverance from generation to generation. Passover isn't just about the past. It's about freedom, spiritual and physical. It's about a God who breaks chains, who remembers his promises. He told Abraham that after 400 years, he would remember his people. He is God who shows up in power, who delivers his people with signs and wonders. It's about faith in moments of fear, trusting God even when you do not see the way out. It is having courage in times of chaos, taking the first step as God commands and trusting that he is leading you in the path of victory. For Christians, it also foreshadows the Messiah, Jesus, called the Lamb of God, our Passover Lamb, who shed his blood so that death might pass over us too. Yet just as the people of Israel had to obey and sprinkle the blood, today those that believe in the shed blood of Jesus must obey the word. How often do we forget what we've been delivered from? Passover calls us to remember. Remember the moments when God stepped in. The testimony of Jesus is the spirit of prophecy. Write it down. Tell someone what God has done for you. It encourages a person to also believe in God. Remember when he passed over your home with mercy, even when you did not deserve his mercy. When he broke the chains of fear, addiction, doubt, or despair. When he came through for your marriage, your children, your job, your business, and your ministry. Your story may not involve Egypt, but you've known bondage. And God is still the same deliverer today. Passover is not the end of the story, it's the beginning. The Israelites began a journey toward the Promised Land. It took them 40 years to reach the land, a journey that should have taken them way less than it took. They learnt the hard way that obedience to God is better than sacrifice. We too are on a journey toward purpose, destiny, and deeper faith. God is still speaking today. He still delivers today. He heals. He provides. Every year, this sacred remembrance invites us to begin again, to trust God again, to obey him, and to trust him with our challenges. So, as you reflect on the story of Passover, ask yourself, where have you seen God cause destruction to pass over you? What chains has he broken? What story of freedom do you carry? This season, remember the power of deliverance, walk in faith, and share your testimony. If you enjoyed this journey through the Passover story, be sure to check out our other videos on the Bible storyteller and share your thoughts in the comments below. Remember to like, subscribe, and share, because these stories are meant to be told. Until next time, keep telling his story and walking in freedom.